That's where we are today, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we are. This meme perfectly describes academia today.
Dairy Queen.
Okay. That's why I'm wearing the happy helmet, because I'm so sad. I had to break out the happy helmet. Anybody who's seen Ren and Stimpy knows what's going on here.
Yep.
Okay. I had to make my own damn happy helmet, because this is where we are today.
Yep.
Look, the state of things is one of the things that I've noticed is I have two sisters, one who teaches K-12, one who teaches a master's program in business English.
Uh-huh.
Now, my daughter's graduating college, and I hand-lettered her whole diploma. I mean, literally hand-lettered, calligraphy, the whole 9 yards. And my sister, I described it to my sister. She's like, "Oh, that's it." And I showed it to her. She's like, "Oh my God, I could never do anything like that. My writing looks like shit." You teach business English at a master's level at a prestigious college.
Uh-huh.
And you can't write. Okay. I want to point this out here. And all she's ever done her whole life is academia. And she suffers from what we've come up with, academiosis.
Academiosis.
There's a whole breed of females, and they're almost entirely females, who suffer from this academiosis. They've never been anywhere else in their life. Now, my other sister, who teaches K-12, is also got super liberal toxemia of some kind.
Super liberal
Toxemia. About 2 months ago, she and I had shared memes back and forth, and we agreed, okay, she knows my politics don't match hers, and I know her politics don't match mine, and we left it alone for years, right? So I sent her a picture of 9 medieval horses. You know, the fucked up medieval drawings?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? And it's 9 medieval horses, and it says, "Which medieval horse drawing are you today?" And it's a funny meme, right?
Uh-huh.
She lost her mind because the website that it was from was Post, which is like a Twitter, but like edgy.
Yeah.
And she knows that there are Nazis on Post. And she lost her mind that I sent her a meme from Post and called me a Nazi the whole 9 yards.
A Nazi.
And I'm like, it's a meme. It's a funny horse meme. What's going on here? Lost her mind, and she has not spoken to me since.
But here's the thing is, you don't really know what's going to set those people off. You have no idea.
Exactly. But these particular breed that are in academia, they think that academia is all there is to the entire world. That's where this academiosis is coming from. It's the only world that they know.
And you're correct. And these people are going to college and then going right to government without ever having lived in the real world.
Most politicians today.
Yes.
Particularly the female ones.
Well, I'm going to throw in some of the male feminists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
no, that's fine. It's just it's a majority female environment. It really is. By the way, when she finally said, "I'm never speaking to you again," over a horse meme, I said, "Well, at least we know your horse's name." Trigger. I was like, "Are you serious? This is a horse meme. It's a funny medieval horse meme, and you're going to lose your mind." That's how wrapped around the handle these academics are, the ones that never come out of academia. The terrifying thing is they're the ones teaching our children.
Yep.
These are the people who are teaching our children. They really believe all of this stuff that they believe. I know that sounds circular logic, but so is their logic. So there you go. Yeah. But as it turns out, it wasn't. Remove that one. Add this one to the stage. This is Yuri Bezmenov. It was a plan.
Yeah, hang on. He was a KGB defector from the USSR who was later assassinated.
Yes.
Because he was dropping dimes on what the KGB and the USSR was up to.
Yes.
And you have to understand that even though the USSR technically ceased to exist, the same ideas exist in China now. And the plan...
No.
Oh, hang on.
While you're correct, go ahead.
I'm just saying that the same programming that the USSR had, and let's say they still have it, China is using in force because they have control of what TikTok, and they I mean, there's a bunch of there's a bunch of investigations that I've heard wind of that are going on with China basically sending over a whole boatload of cash to influence certain individuals that we will find out in due course when the DOJ digs into their ass. That's all I
Okay,
can say about that.
ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you send a grunt to intelligence school for 6 months.
Yeah.
While you are not entirely wrong, that is the superficial picture. What happened in the West? The China element doesn't enter it until the mid 80s.
Yep.
The Russians, and this guy talks about it. That's what this video is. He talks about what happened, and it had been happening since the 50s. The China element doesn't show up until the 1980s. Now, one of the big events was in 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. And everybody's like, yeah, the Berlin Wall fell. Ladies and gentlemen, that was like the dam that was holding back the commies, because now the commies could come across that border and get into all of the schools. And everybody's happy to see them because, oh, look, free East Germans. They're the Stasi. These people made the Bolsheviks look like fucking Girl Scouts.
Huh.
Okay. Yeah. They made the Bolsheviks look like Girl Scouts.
You got a drink.
Did I say Bolshevik?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. So anyway, they came through the Berlin Wall gap, essentially. And they look like us and they sound like us, and we like them because they're from East Germany. And boy, we liberated East Germany. Isn't that cool, kids? Okay. Now the Chinese part plays in. In China, it's easy for them to do this. Why? Because they've got essentially a homogenous culture. They have a culture where they've been subjects. Well, there have been Chinese emperors for 3,500 years. And they killed Gyoro Puyi, the last emperor. There's a movie about it and everything. It's actually kind of entertaining. They basically worked him to death. And he ended up as a gardener in his own palace in the end. But that emperor was replaced by Mao and the party. And those people are so conditioned to being ruled by an emperor that they didn't think anything of it. Communism fit them like a glove. They just had a new name for it.
Yep.
Is essentially what happened. When it came to the US, it's a whole different culture over here. And it took them 4 full decades to turn, because you and I can remember
2 generations.
Back when we were kids, it was still cool to be American. And we used to say things like better dead than red and fuck you, commie.
And you could all the time, yeah.
Yeah. And it was an insult to call somebody a commie. But let's take a listen to what happened here. There's a line in here I particularly like. Oh, you can't hit the play button on the video screen on the StreamYard. You have to hit the actual play button on the actual video.
Uh-huh.
I will unfuck myself.
Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand.
Listen to this.
The Soviets used the phrase ideological subversion. What do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the process which is legitimate, overt, and open. You can see it with your own eyes. All you have to do, all American mass media has
this
to do
is exactly what's going on.
From their ears, open up their eyes, and they can see it. There is no mystery. There is nothing to do with espionage. I know that espionage intelligence gathering looks more romantic. It sells more deodorants through the advertising, probably. That's why
sells more deodorants.
Hollywood producers are so crazy about James Bond type of thrillers. But in reality, the main emphasis of the KGB is not in the area of intelligence.
Listen to this.
All. According to my opinion and opinion of many defectors of my caliber, only about 15% of time, money,
stand by, Steve.
Power.
We're getting some chat. They're saying that you need a more volume.
Oh, is my mic down?
And we can't hear the Yuri speaking, they're saying.
Can't hear him speaking?
No,
That's strange. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. It says turn up the volume, you stupid boomer dwarf. That's what they're saying.
Oh, wow. That's ow. Hey.
Yeah, he's not a boomer. He's Gen X.
I'm not a boomer. I am Gen X, but I'm original flavor Gen X.
Uh-huh.
Rumble. Where is that? Can you hear me now? Are you getting volume from me or
I think they're talking about the volume on
on Yuri?
yeah.
Let me see if that's got.
No,
Let's
he
see
said the
that.
video volume, not you.
Oh, okay.
Is spent on
There it is.
espionage as such.
How's
The other 85% is a slow process, which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages.
Here's your 4 groups.
The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate 1 generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The result you can see. Most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck with them. You cannot get rid of them. They are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black, you still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people who would be acting in favor and in the interests of the United States.
That's enough of that for the moment. But listen to what he said. Everything he said there is exactly what has happened and exactly what our academic world has turned into.
Yeah, well,
I
hang on.
mean, yeah.
All right. When you talk to the youth of today, and they have their rainbow-colored hair, and there's beauty at any size, and people don't even know the difference between men and fucking women.
Yeah.
All right, now they're using feminism. Then you have the whole gay, trans, dividing line. They're literally dividing us up, and once you're divided, you can, focus and destroy one group at a time.
Yes,
and we're
which is what they're
destroying
doing.
ourselves. All right, now I noticed this, in the 90s when I was in college. I was like, this is stupid. And I think one of the main reasons I was able to see that is because when I was in, middle school, I had 3 different social studies teachers in the Oak Park School District, and they were true blue Americans.
I had Mr. Ogle. Yep.
Yeah. Well, 2 of them fought in the Vietnam War.
Yep.
1 of them fought in the Korean War and the Vietnam War.
Oh man, those are the hard asses. Those are the genuine hard asses. Wait, I hang on one second. I have to tell the Mr. Ogle story. I have to tell this story. It was 7th grade, and Mr. Ogle was our civics teacher through 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And the gym teacher, Don McElrath, walked in, And he was like 28 years old, fresh out of college, young, handsome, all of that. Mr. Ogle was a grizzled, battle-hardened Vietnam vet. He was bald. He was a Marine, the whole 9 yards. And McElrath walks in to say something to him, and Mr. Ogle's like, "Get out of my class." And we all kind of laughed. McElrath goes, "At least I have hair on my head." "Yeah, but you don't have any hair on your balls. Now get out of my class." This is seventh grade in like 1983, dude. We were on the floor rolling.
Nice. I like it.
But
I
those were the good old days.
Like, I literally started seeing this, you know, in college, especially when they were forcing me to take 2/3 of a 4-year degree with bullshit fucking classes. And they say they'll look you right in the face and like, we want you to be well-rounded.
Well-rounded.
Yeah, what they're really
the buzzword.
saying is we want to indoctrinate you and you're gonna pay for it.
Yep. Yeah. Let's take a quick look at what this looks like now with the hyper-feministed sufferers of academiosis.
Just came up with a new word for me, femifisted. Hang on.
Femifisted. They have been femifisted. They're like sock puppets.
Uh-huh.
It's little female sock puppets with a hand up their ass making them talk.
All right, yeah.
Watch this. This is a classic example of these individuals.
You need to take that hat off now. It's disgusting. You're disgusting. You're wearing this outfit that my husband bought for this country. And look at you. Look at you.
He's trying not to laugh.
Doo-doo, and you know it.
Yeah, piece of doo-doo, and you know it.
You and all of your people that have robots. Robots. You're robots. You drank the Kool-Aid, didn't you, huh? Didn't you? Stupidity.
Ma'am, I hope you have a great day again.
Ah, you son of a mother.
All right, that lady looked about 45, 50.
It's like classic. That
So
is stock wackadoodle.
So if you go back 30 years, she was going to college in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And she's been cooked and booked.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. It's a severe case of academiosis compounded by femifisting.
All right. So hypothetically, here are some things that I think is wrong with her. One, she's probably got a background mental illness. 2, she's menopausal, so her hormones are imbalanced.
She's mental pausal.
Well, yeah. Oh, I got to write that down.
Write that down.
All right. She's probably, suffering from anti-dick. So she's not getting none of that. And on top of that, the wackadoodle philosophy she's following has just been shot down in flames when Trump was elected.
Yeah.
So tell me what that was again. I forgot it already.
Mental something. What
Mental
was that?
fisting?
I can't remember. We're old and our thinking doesn't work well anymore. Yeah, and just the absolute lunacy of that. And I stumble for words over describing these people. I mean, you can see the way she was dressed. Who looks in the mirror in that outfit and goes, "This is fine. Everything is fine."
Yep. And on top of that, also, you got to put into, on top of all the stuff we've just said, the generations have been infantilized. And just think, you can't even criticize people or they get offended, they feel unsafe.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally talk to somebody logically and it's, oh no, I feel unsafe. When you try to bring up biology and facts to the trans people, they sit there looking in the face and go, "You're killing people." They literally believe this.
Yes. Yes.
You cannot reason with these people. They've been turned into a cult. They've been made